In this video, I'm going to showcase my game against International Master MinhLe and go through and break it down and showcase what exactly happened, what openings we played, and how basically I stacked up against a titled player. Spoilers, it was rough. Let's get into it. The game started with e4 by Min. He has the white pieces, I have the black pieces. I went for a Sicilian. Now, after I went c5, he went knight f3. Then I pushed d6, getting a nice pawn structure. After he went d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, and then I went for the accelerated dragon version. Now, I am not the best with the Sicilian, but I did attempt to try to make it my own, or just try to really just hone in on what I know, basically. And this is what I've been studying a little bit, trying to get to know the dragon variation of the Sicilian. So I go g6. He plays h4, the move that is going to actually destroy me later on in the game. I ignore it, and I decide to put my bishop on g7. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he pushes again to h5, and it's also the best move by the engine. And at this point, I'm like, uh-oh, this is not good. What am I going to do now? I decide to move my knight out to try to stop this, but he pushes again. Now I'm in major trouble here, so let's go back a little bit. So after he pushed h4, the move that the engine tells you to do is to move your knight to f6, the best move, because if they decide to push, you can take, and they're not going to take here because they will lose a larger piece, or a piece that's worth more. Also, you know, you'll be trading basically a knight for a rook, and not many people would do that. The move I was thinking before I looked at the engine move was something like h5, which is still an okay move. It stops the h-pawn from coming down, but I can definitely see how moving my knight out is also giving me more development and also stopping this pawn from going. Maybe eventually moving this as well to free up my knight to go elsewhere. Anyways, though, it ended up I moved the bishop out. He pushed to h5. I now went to knight f6, but it was now too late. He pushed once again. Now I had to move my bishop back to f8. In this position, I was already getting cramped. My bishop is now just basically useless at the moment, so I have to give him some space somehow. He moves knight to c3. Then I push to e5. He moves his knight back to b3, which is an interesting move. Then I move my bishop out to e6, trying to give him a little bit of open space. After that, he moves his bishop out to e2. Then I move my knight to c6, trying to get a little bit more development here. My position is still not that good, in my opinion. I don't think so. My bishop just needs to get out, and then maybe I can castle long or something. Maybe even castling short won't be terrible. He moves his bishop out to e3. Then I put my queen on d7. He puts his queen on d2. And then I, apparently it's a mistake, and it throws the game for white here a little bit, at least from the engine. I move there. He goes for a trade. After that, he moves a knight to d5. I move my bishop out, finally giving him a little bit of breathing room, and he pushes his pawn, making my bishop go back to e6. After this, he castles, he long castles. I pushed to b6, which is apparently the best move, which was one of the only best moves I played this game, but it was okay. He moved his king over to a more optimal square, and then I pushed to a5. Still, you know, I'm not doing terrible here. The position is really not good. I would rather be white. Like, if you go back just a few moves in this position, I would definitely be white here, like, without a doubt. It's just such a stronger position. The bishops can see so many squares right now. The knights are on great squares. You're about to castle and put your king in a great position. So let's continue. We trade the bishops, or trade the knight and a bishop. He pushed up, and I went back to e6. After that, he long castles, and I play b6. He moves his king over like we talked about, and I moved a5. And that was a blunder. So after, I was just looking at this too. I pushed there, but I didn't realize that this pawn was unguarded. And he basically takes on b6, and now I get forked. I get forked with the queen and the rook, so I decide to move my queen. He takes the rook, I take the knight. Then he moves his queen to c3, attacking my bishop, attacking my knight, and also opening up his lane for his rook on d1. So I decide to trade here. He takes with the queen, of course, is a good move. I decide to trade here, even though I was down on material a little bit. I decided to trade here because I wanted him to take with one of the pawns, but I basically forgot that he's just going to take with the queen because he's not going to mess up his pawn structure for his king. So he takes it. So queen takes b3. Then I move a4, attacking the queen. Also, trying to survive here at somehow. He moves his queen to d5. Then I long castle. At this point, he moves his rook up to d3, and then I move my knight to b4. I thought this was a great move, and I still think it is. And I forked the queen and the rook. However, he decides to take my queen, and then I take his queen back. Now his rook is all safe. And then once I take the queen back, he decides to go rook c3, and then I push with d5. We have rook c7, attacking my bishop. I push up again. We trade bishops. And then I make the biggest blunder ever for the entire game. My king at the moment cannot go forward because of the pawn on h6. And after this, he pushes up real quick. I went a little bit ahead. He pushes to a3. And then I make the blunder, too, of d5, knight d5. I had some time here, but I for some reason, it took me 10 seconds, but I moved away. I should have moved knight down to c6, but I accidentally moved to d5, not only losing the knight, but also blundering with rook a5 whenever he goes and checkmates me on rook e8. A very tragic game, and just not the greatest chess by me, but I wanted to just show you this game because this was my first game against a title player. And at the time, I believe this was a 3-minute blitz game? No, it was a 5-minute blitz game, and I was currently rated 830 in blitz at the time. Right now, I am rated about 1,000. So I've come up a little bit, but I just want to show you this game and see what you guys all thought about it, because it was difficult. It was a little bit hard. But I definitely learned a lot from it, especially to not take those H-pawns for granted. That definitely is what killed me there. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe, like the video, or even share it. Join the Discord if you want. Links will be in the description, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Take care, and play more chess.